Good evening and welcome to the sounds of Radio Notes here on Radio Adelaide. I'm your host, John Murch, taking you through to midnight Central Standard Australian time tonight. And on the show, two guests for you. Here in South Australia, Mike Tilbrook has a debut EP and he'll be with us very shortly to explain more. It's funk, it's soul, and it was recorded down the port. We'll also cross over to New York for an artist we've been playing for the last couple of years on this program, who in the last week was featured on a show called Dance Mums. We'll have a chat about the program, but more importantly about their music. LiLi Roquelin will be our guest live from New York this evening. Let's start off with this though. You can tweet the program at Radionotes 1015. This is the new one by Alaska Young. The sounds there of Menace Beach and Super Transportarium, the opening cut, the title tune, in fact, of their latest EP. In just a moment, we'll be joined by this lovely lady. First played this to you back in 2010, I think. Should You Get Mad, of an album called Will You Hate the Rest of Your Life or Will You Renew Your Life is a question mark on the end there, of release from LiLi Roquelin. Roquelin is on the line right now for a chinwag live from New York. Before I get her on the line, let me tell you about a show called Dance Mums. It's a show that's on in America and I believe available through the pay TV in Australia. It's a show that has mothers pitting their young child against each other while they fight it out. Well, in the last week, Maddie Ziegler was on that very program and won a place in the show. You may well know her from Sia Furler's film clip. Well, the music that was playing, for which Maddie was dancing to, was our guest this evening, LiLi's music. It was called Thank You. LiLi, thank you for joining us on Radio Notes today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure to be speaking with you. It all started for you in France, but you made the move to New York. Was it the bright lights? Was it the bright lights that enticed you?
I think I've always wanted to move to the U.S. and, especially for music. So, yeah, moving from France to the U.S. was a big move, I actually moved first in Cleveland, Ohio, and then I moved to New York. So, it's really for music,
Well, you're now based in New York, and as we mentioned in the last week, your tune Thank You was viewed over by 6 million eyeballs, listened to 6 million ears were tuned in, better known as 3 million viewers of a particular show called Dance Mums. Were you a fan of the show before your music was part of it?
What do you mean, if my fans view the show?
Did you watch the TV show before your music was part of the program?
Oh, me? Actually, if I go back to the start, I actually had 3 other songs of mine on the show in 2011. I think season 1, 2, and 3, and now it's season 5. So, I actually really like the association of image and music. So I had always, focused on that and getting the right contacts and stuff. So before the show was really famous, when they were filming season 1, they had, selected a bunch of songs, and my song was one of the songs for a group dance. So, when I heard that, I thought it was great, and I guess when the show was coming out, I already had a song in it. So, and then, I kind of followed the show a little bit along. So this is how it happened. And now it's season 5, and the show's huge, so it's a great opportunity,
And huge for you because Maddie Ziegler, the actual dancer, and her mother Melissa runs the account on Twitter, but Maddie obviously has a bit of a say in it, and as we've mentioned, has been part of the trio of Sia film clips that have come out, including Elastic Heart, Big Girls, as well as Chandelier that people know. How amazing was it to actually have Maddie herself, or at least the account, engaging with you?
Oh, that was fantastic. So I actually met Abby Lee Miller, which is the dance teacher, the dance coach, on the show. I actually met her in June at a film premiere that I was also invited to. And so I guess somehow the connections happen that way. And so I was tweeting when the show was airing. It was very exciting, to just watch the performance and, everything. And then, when suddenly I saw my Twitter account blowing up, I was, oh my God, what just happened? And I saw that she would, posted some nice things, that it was a beautiful song, and she retweeted some of my tweets. So, and then, she got a huge following, so sometimes it's really funny, they're like kids and stuff, young girls. It's really cute. So, yeah, I embraced it, and I think it's amazing.
My understanding also is, you mentioned the Abbey studio, that Maddie's mother, Melissa, actually worked for free as a receptionist to pay off Maddie's classes. So it's very interwoven, that particular school and that particular program. But we're talking about LiLi Roquelin, who's on the line from New York today. I've always wanted to ask you, and I think there's a good chance live on the radio to ask you, what is your connection, what is your involvement with the Grammy Awards?
Oh, the Grammy Awards, yeah. So I am actually a voting member at the Recording Academy. The members are selected, I would say almost anyone can submit, but that doesn't mean you're going to be approved. And you have to have a certain number of credentials and a certain number of music releases to at least be considered. So, when I think it was somebody like in the music industry that told me, oh, hey, you should, submit yourself and see if you get the spot, and so they approved me as a voting member, and being, a voting member, I guess, I can submit anyone's music. So I sent mine out, and, and some of my songs were approved on the official entry list for consideration for the last, the past Grammy Awards from January. And so that was fantastic. I think 4 of my songs in, 7 different categories. And I think it's great that, your music is approved for that. It's very prestigious, and, it's the best, organization, for the music industry in general. So, yes, that's my small connection.
but you're saying that you're on the voting panel of the Grammys?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's quite impressive.
Thank you. It's just a lot of music released and credentials, and I don't know exactly how they review this, but, I'm just very, very grateful to be considered that way.
You seem to come across, in your lyrics at least, as quite a positive person. Has that been an easy thing to maintain through this music career? It's
interesting. I think it's more of a personal thing. I've always been a positive person, and, whether it's because of personal things or, your career, how it goes, we get a lot of no's, whether we're a musician or an actor or, dancers, we have many, many no's, but then when you get yes, for even, some opportunities, it's always really encouraging. And this is what has always pushed me, I guess it's a natural optimism.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how you could live every day thinking that there's no good things for you or for anyone else. So I think, yes, it has definitely helped me because I hear people say, whether in interviews and things that they think I'm very persistent. So, yeah, I think being persistent and not giving up, and also just having a really good intuition of, seeing where you should go, where you should try out some things, and just stay in the flow. And I think it's just life,
Well,
every day is a good day.
Speaking about the persistency, you are also using that as an independent artist who, at the end of the day, you are about your own career, about your own music and your own product. How have you found that over the years? I'm sure people have come along and said, "Hey, look, Lily, we can help you out. We can do all that for you. You just do the music bit of it." How have you kept that independence?
Yes. So this is a great question. I love it. Yes, it's true. I have met, either managers or management companies, that wanted to, work with me or take my music and things like this, or sign some exclusive deal or whatever. And I refused whatever deals that I knew would not take my music where I could at least myself take it. So, it's basically like, if you don't work as hard as I do, and if you don't believe in my music as much as I do, you're just not taking, any ownership or anything. And a lot of people in this industry, they want to own your stuff, and this, I just don't respect that at all. So, I do have a team, but I'm the boss. I have a coordinator. I have, an attorney if I need. I have a marketing person, but I do. I'm the one that makes the decision. I'm the one that works the most, and it works for me. So, and I'm really happy of being independent because I can decide who I want to work with, how many songs I want to release, when I want to do it. I don't have a record label saying, "Oh, you signed with us for 7 records within 8 years, and you have to do that, and you can't do anything else." So I think it's the freedom too, yeah.
Beautiful Sun is the latest album. I'm going to play an album track off of it in just a moment. Before I do get to that, I want to ask you what the response has been as the artist. As we're suggesting, yeah, you might have an attorney, you might have a group of people around you, but you're calling the shots. What are the firings coming back? What are people saying to you about the record?
Oh, well, I did very, very good, reviews on the album. Indie reviews, and I'm very happy of the reviews of that. Then I think it just depends on people's taste, whatever they want to listen to. I'm very proud of it. I think it's commercial, and in the same way, it's very original, and this is what has come back to me from whether interviews or from music placements and things like this. And so. I think that's what I would say, yeah. For me, it's been a very personal journey in the sense that I've been with you for a little while now, and it's the start of this show, when I started interacting using the Twitter platform, when the show first started as a summer radio show, that I've kept looking at your journey, and I'm always impressed about how it's been progressing along. You've probably had some back steps, but you haven't dwelled on those. You've moved forward, and you keep on, as you've said yourself, being persistent. It's been an interesting couple of years together, Lily. Yes, it's been. That's true. That's true. I agree. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to play a song now, which I'd like you to have a chat before we play it, before you leave us this morning, your time, this evening, our time. I'm going to play something called Don't Wait. Can you tell us a little bit about this one?
Oh, yeah, sure. Don't Wait is actually a song that I had written in French, so it's both in French and English on the album. It's a little bit of like a jazzy pop kind of tone to it. It's definitely a song that I would say that is there to wake people up and telling them to just, move on with their life and, don't wait for others to tell you, what you want to do. It's a great message, and it is interesting because I did write it in French first, and then I've always wanted to do an album, a whole English version and then a second version in French. But since this is quite a lot of work, on that record, I put, one song in English and in French. So people should go look for the French version as well. Just
on that, before we do crack to it, because you are mentioning about writing an album in English and in French. French is perceived to be a very complicated language, may it just be for the genders of the language. Has that been the hurdle? Has it been the genderness of the French language that has held you back from releasing a French and English album?
I think it's not necessarily, the gender or, some of the grammar. I think it's mostly, as a musician, it's a beautiful language, but it's a little bit rougher than English. And when I started to write lyrics when I was like 12, I was writing poems, I started to write them in English. My dad is very, very into, English American music. So, I wasn't completely fluent, but that came first, actually, before French. There's some words that flow in English that in French is a bit harder to make them flow as well. So I'm not going to say I'm writing in English because it's easier, because it's not. Mm-hmm. But I guess it came to me a little bit more, naturally from hearing, English music growing up, and so it's just a natural thing.
LiLi Roquelin, absolute pleasure to speak with you. Thanks for joining us live from New York, particularly on the back of over 3 million viewers checking out your song with Maddie Ziegler in the last week. Thanks for your time. Here it is now.
Thank you.
If you think about today, thinking it will be very long, you envy them when they say there's nothing wrong. If you think about tomorrow, welcome what you're meant to draw. Release what you're suppressed and the bitterness. Please don't wait. Life will not come to you.
That's the sounds of Don't Wait by LiLi Roquelin, who is joining us on the line from New York this evening. You can find out all about her online, where she has a great presence. And as I mentioned, her song was part of the Dance Mums series, which was aired in the last week. Huge number of viewers for that show, and the dance, of course, that went with it as well. Quite amazing. This is the sound.